Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 3 of the Lift Pass podcast. Well, we've got a packed episode today, Sam. We've got weather updates. We've got a new action cam that's hit the market. It's looking good. If I were GoPro, I might be a little bit worried. Sam, last episode or last week we heard about your back issues.
Big back update.
And we've heard, we know a big back update is coming. And then finally, and this is a great moment, we've had our first ever listener question. And it's a good one. So, Sam, let's get started. The thing I'm most excited to hear about, how's the back?
So, yeah, I kind of just put off figuring out what was the problem, but I decided to figure it out and go to a doctor, and it's my rhombus major, which is it's just a muscle in my back. I think it's just like underneath your trap.
So it's a muscle.
Yeah, I think it's actually it might not be. There's probably someone's already corrected me like 16 times because everything's wrong. But yeah, I basically must have rolled over my shoulder when I was sleeping, or it's my terrible posture at a desk. Which actually, and now that I think about it, it definitely could be that because it's on the side where my second monitor is, so I'm always like leaning over to the side. Like pulling my shoulder all the time.
You got Ableton open or something.
Yeah, exactly. I've got
ruining your back.
Yeah,
ruining your chances of a pain-free snowboard season.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've got a lot of time for it to heal though. I think it takes from around like 3 weeks, and if it's really bad, it could be like a month. So it's not awful.
You doing Pilates? Yoga?
No, I am doing like some stretches for it, but I should do. I did get into some hot yoga and stuff like that. That's next episode. We'll get some lavalier mics and we'll go to yoga together.
We're not filming it.
Yeah.
No cameras, audio only. ASMR yoga. Anyway, so I'm glad to hear that your back is.
What's the Joel update? I haven't talked to you most of the week.
No, I know it's been a busy week. I've been all over the place. But something I did do, I went to see ABBA.
Oh.
And not ABBA themselves, because they don't perform anymore. They haven't performed for about 30, 40 years. ABBA Voyage in London, and it was fantastic. I'd highly recommend it.
What was your favourite song? What were you dancing to the most?
Voulez-vous.
Okay.
It's a great song. Voulez-vous was great. And I also enjoyed a song that I hadn't heard prior to going called Eagle.
Cool.
Eagle, it was great.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
I
good.
don't think I know what that is off the top of my
It's
head.
a niche
Maybe I've
one,
heard of it.
It's got this like driving. Anyway, I can't believe we turned this into an ABBA podcast.
So this podcast is sponsored by ABBA Voyage.
Thank you, ABBA Voyage, for the big skiing podcast sponsorship.
Thank you. The big skiing fans.
Before we get into our first question, our first ever question that I'm so excited to discuss, I'd like to remind anyone that wants to write in, podcast@liftpass.org is our email address. Please send us your questions, whatever they are, topics, articles. We want to talk about them. We want to cover them.
Yeah, this question's basically spanned almost an entire episode. It's a whole conversation. So if you've got an interesting topic, we'll cover it.
This is a really interesting one, and it's a topic that I'm sure we all have experienced in some capacity. Okay, I'm going to read the question out, Sam, and then we'll get to chatting about it.
Okay.
Hi, Lift Pass team. I'm going on a skiing trip to Austria this year with a big group, 15 people total. 3 of the group are beginners, and the rest are a mix of intermediate and experienced skiers. As I'm sure you know, skiing in a big group is very difficult due to mixed abilities, fitness levels, and differing wants from the overall skiing experience. I'm nervous about balancing the politics of choosing who we spend our time skiing with, especially as the beginners will be having morning lessons and will need support in the afternoon. Most of us go on one ski trip each year, so I want to make the most of our trip and get a good amount of skiing in, while still supporting our beginner friends and ensuring they have a good time. And that's from Adam.
Thank you, Adam. Yeah, our first question.
That's a great question, and
15 people is a lot of people. I don't think I've ever been with 15 people. I think I'm going with the most people this year, which I think is probably 12. But 15,
really?
Yeah, 15 feels like a...
I've been with 20.
20? Okay.
And I'd say typically I've also been with university. I've been...
Oh, okay, that type of stuff,
family groups, school trips. To be honest, I've actually very rarely been in small groups. I think probably 6 is my minimum, at least. So yeah, this is a really interesting one because it's something when you go as a big group, you kind of almost have this romantic thought in your mind about everyone being able to experience skiing together, which you can do, but I'd say in limited amounts, because it's very difficult due to some of the things you've mentioned in this email. Range of fitness, range of skiing ability. Some people want to stop 45 minutes after they've started skiing in the morning and have a hot chocolate. Others want to make the most of the good morning conditions. So actually trying to all ski together is very difficult. Sam, do you have any tips for our friend Adam about how you can navigate this 15
Do I have
person
any
group?
major tips for Adam on this? I think the main thing with deciding what you want to do is, I think everyone has to be honest with being like, oh, do I really want to go down another? Do I want? Because if you go with a group and you're like, oh, I really want to go with this other group, and two runs in, you're like, I don't want to do another 6 or whatever it is, and you want to go back, you've kind of left yourself in this position where I've now been forced into a group, and you don't have any leeway to get out of stuff. So I think people have to be honest about what they actually want to do and what they can do. I was actually just thinking about, as you were saying, all these big groups. I think at 15 plus is actually a good group size, because you have enough people where a substantial amount of people want to do each thing. Because if you go with about 6 people, you might have a 4 and a 2, or you might even have a 5 and a 1. With 15 people, if you're honest about what you want to do, there's probably one other person in that group that wants to do the same thing. So I think it is good to have that sizable group. But yeah, I don't know, it's all going to come down to the day. I think that's the most, like, each one's going to be a situational, like, how are you feeling on this day? Do you want to hang out with this person? Do you want to
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. Actually, you can flip it around, and this problem of 15 people, how do I keep everyone happy, how do I get to ski with everyone, becomes less of an issue, actually, because you have so many people in the group. And as you said, you might wake up 4 days into your trip, let's presume this person's going for 6 days. You might wake up 4 days into your trip and your legs are feeling a little bit tired. There's a reasonable chance there's going to be 1 or 2 people in that group of 15 that also want to have a bit of a quieter day.
Yeah.
So actually you can flip this round and use it to your advantage. I guess in my experience, a prime example of why it's important, as you said, to just be honest with one another and say, look, we're here for 6 days. There's probably enough time to at some point experience skiing all together or experience skiing with every individual person in the group at some point. And quite a nice way to get around that as well is on the last day, organize a set time, whether it's the last afternoon or whatever, that you come together, meet in a set location, and do some skiing together. And I guess to use an example that I've had, quite often we've gone to the Three Valleys, and one of my favourite activities when we go to Three Valleys, we're often staying towards the Courchevel side. And for anyone that doesn't know what the Three Valleys is like, you have Courchevel on kind of the left-hand side of the mountain if you're looking at the piece map, Maribel in the middle, and then Val Thorens all the way to the right. So quite a fun activity, and it does pretty much take up a full day, is skiing all the way from the left-hand corner of Courchevel all the way up to Val Thorens and beyond into the so-called Fourth Valley, which is called Orel. And that takes pretty much a day of good, strong skiing. Now, there's a small group of us out of this group of 20 that love doing it each year. There's 4 or 5 of us maybe. And then there's most people aren't bothered by it, or they've done it once, or they're just there to have a relaxed skiing trip. So actually, because you're in such a big group of 15, as Sam said, when you pitch an idea like, oh, I'm going to ski over to this area, it's going to be almost a day of skiing, or there's a couple of tough reds or blacks that are on the way, so you need a decent skiing level to get there. Actually, because you have such a big group size, you're probably more likely to get people who put their hands up and go with you. If you were skiing in a group of 3 or 4, and the 3 or 4 you're with just want to have a relaxing day and not go and do this schlep along to the other side of the mountain, then you're faced with the decision of either going on your own, which can be somewhat ill-advisable if you're depending on your skiing level, especially in a new area. So yeah, you can definitely flip it around and make it an advantage.
I have a little question for you in this question. Which type of skier are you? Because I think then in most skiing scenarios, there's 3 types of skiers or snowboarders. There's the cafe checklist people who are going down every single coffee shop they see. They see a coffee shop, they're like, oh, it's been 2 runs, I need to put my feet up, enjoy a wine or something. There's like the intermediate people, which I think I probably put myself in, which is a long stop for lunch and maybe like 2 cafes during the day, the whole day. Or are you one of the fitness people? Because I go with groups where like there's people who are like really fit and they just want to go. They'll do like twice as many runs as everyone else because they've got their their Fitbit on, and they're looking at their Strava and they're like, yep, I've covered, I don't know, hundreds of miles today. Which type of skier are you?
You think you're in that middle camp?
I actually, that's not actually, to a degree, that's not true. I actually think I am all 3 on different days.
Depending on how you feel when you wake up.
Yeah, so typically...
Or how the back's doing.
Yeah, exactly, it's the back. It's back-based.
Yeah.
So typically on ski trips, I always take one day when I usually go by myself or someone forcibly comes along because they'll be like, oh, I want to come and do this. Is normally I'll go from like left to right or right to left of the ski map. So I'll go from the furthest left all the way over all the mountains, all the way to the other side, and then all the way back in a day. I won't even stop for lunch. I'll just do all the runs and then all the way back. Because when you're not in a group, you don't have to stop and wait on the side of a slope. You can get it done in a day, however big it is. You won't do all the different types of runs, but you will get to see all the different mountain ranges and stuff like that. And I typically do that on just like the 3rd day or the 4th day or something like that, just to see all the places we're not going to get to. Because in a big group, you're not going to get, I don't know, 7 chairlifts in one direction because it will take you ages to get home. You're worried you're going to miss the last chairlift back, and you're going to have to get a bus from one country to another. And I think usually on my last day, I'm probably one of the coffee checklist people, because I'm just like, oh, I just want to relax, I just want to do a couple of slopes I like, sit down, drink a couple, and I'll probably honestly just do the same like 3 runs over and over again because I'll be like, oh, these ones are fun. So I think I'm a mix of all 3, but I'm traditionally just a lunch and 2 coffees. Yeah.
Interesting.
So what are you going for?
I would say I'm a hybrid of the middle and then the intermediate. I guess,
and then
in terms
the fitness.
And the fitness.
Always,
yeah. I'm someone that likes exercise, tried to maintain a reasonable level of fitness. However, when I go skiing, I don't go skiing with fitness in mind. I go to have a good skiing holiday and enjoy myself. And I think the key word is it is supposed to be a holiday. It's not about doing the most runs. It's not about pushing yourself to the limit every single day. It's about going and enjoying yourself and just relaxing, being in the mountains with your friends. So, but I would say you're a 2 cafe stop plus lunch. I'm a 1 cafe stop.
You're 1? Okay, yeah, because that pushes you into the fitness because you're getting that extra like run or so in. Okay. 10:30,
I'm going for a coffee or a hot chocolate. And then 12:30, stopping for a long lunch, as you said. Happy to sit down for an hour or so.
Actually, here's a question.
Enjoy the sunshine or whatever.
Yeah, here's a question I kind of just thought of. Are you an early lunch person or a late lunch person? Because typically I'll either go early or late because I don't want to like get a rush. And usually if you're going with a group of people and you're going to whatever, you don't want to have to worry about not getting seats and stuff. So it's usually an early or late. I think typically we are an early group. And that is because
you wake up early, you get like
it's not
first
that.
lift.
It's actually mainly that the sun typically isn't always on all the slopes. So there'll be some slopes that are really icy, and on a snowboard, icy is just like, what am I doing with my life? This is the worst experience ever. So you kind of like want the sun to come out. You want all the stuff
Soften
to,
things up.
yeah. You don't want that like 8 a.m. What is it? Icy sound over and over again. Yeah.
So you sit in the cafes.
Yeah, so what?
And
We also just
yeah.
get go to the cafe, get an early lunch, and then while everyone else is at lunch at like 12 to 1, all the slopes are free. I'm going down at whatever speed I want.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, I actually, to be honest, have no set plan for lunch.
Just whenever.
Whenever, if we come across the right sort of place at the right time, and we know that we're not going to find another restaurant for a little while because, you know, we're going to have to get so many chairlifts or whatever, we'll just dive in. And so it could be 11:30, it could be 1:30.
You're a spontaneous eater.
All over the place. And to be honest, I guess depends what season you go, but I love the morning conditions. I love the quite crisp, hard, ideally sort of piece bashed and no one's touched it yet that morning type of condition. So, but if it's, I hear you on the icy side of things.
Yeah, is there something you do on each? Like I'm thinking basically of all these trip things that we do, almost like as traditions, but we don't realize they're traditions. Do you ever do like do you ever sit and figure out what's the longest uninterrupted skiing you can do top to bottom? Because I feel like we always do that run. We're always looking at the map and we're like, where's the longest distance we can do in one long run that's like, I don't know, 20 minutes if you do it all in one. Yeah. I feel like we always do that.
Yeah, I guess subconsciously. Always, I mean, those sort of experiences are great, where, you're just not having to do a run that takes 3 minutes and then get on another lift. You can just chain things up. Yeah, and quite often, actually, Piece Maps will advertise that, or they'll have a name.
If they have a really good long one, yeah.
They'll call it like they'll signpost it and call it like, I don't know, the Olympic run or something. Not Olympic, but something like that. Yeah, I'm trying to think, do I have any traditions? I'll have to come back to you because I'm sure there are lots of subtle ones. But the one that you said earlier about going like from left to right and
just exploring at least the whole thing.
Exactly. Love traversing across the piece map, trying all the different areas. But yeah, so I guess to loop back to our friend Adam's question, I think actually the numbers are more of a positive. Firstly, it's just great that you've got a nice big group of people to go with. You're going to find someone who's same abilities, same aspirations, same fitness levels, and also you're there for 6 days, so you can take the pressure off yourself that you have to ski with the same people every single day, and you can split things up into mornings and afternoons as well. So, you've got 12 easy mornings and afternoons that you can kind of break things up into and just experience skiing with all the different people in your group. And yeah, I'd really recommend on the last day, especially with beginners that you might not have spent a great deal of time with, organizing that time to come together. And yeah, we always do a traditional group selfie at the top of the mountain on the last day with like everyone in the group, and then we'll do a bit of skiing together, stop at a cafe, and then after that we'll go back to skiing in our groups, and everyone mixing up.
Yeah, the other thing I kind of want to add to Adam's question, he didn't say how old he was, but typically when I was younger, and I was again better than other people who were boarding or skiing or whatever. To a degree, even if you are intermediate or expert, it sometimes is fun just to go back onto the beginning slopes with your friends and even try different stuff. So if you're a snowboarder, I don't know what the equivalent is for skiing, but for a snowboarder, a lot of snowboarders can't ride switch, which is riding the opposite way down, especially like riding backwards, because they never want to go back to beginner slopes to learn it again. Mm-hmm. People want to just be like, oh, I'm confident at doing my thing, because learning switch is so annoying. But if you have friends who are on the easier slopes,
bunny slopes, yeah.
I like when my sisters were learning to snowboard, I would just go down the beginner slopes, switch, because I would just learn to do it. So it gives me you something to do. Again, go down backwards on your skis, or just go off piste, throw snowballs at your friends.
Exactly,
while they're doing stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting. And you said in your email that. You go skiing once a year, so you want to make the most of it and you want to like maximize your time. But I'm sure you get just as much enjoyment from, especially if you're close with the people who are learning to ski, seeing your friends ski. We had some beginners come with us for the first time recently. Throughout the whole trip, at different points, we were checking in with them and like almost like going and meeting them after they've had lunch and then taking them out in the afternoon. And we all not rotated through in an organized manner, but we kind of effectively did, because we all wanted to see how they're progressing, and seeing them just getting the pleasure of skiing and learning to ski. And so, you know, it's something really to look forward to, and get a great deal of enjoyment out of seeing your friends, picking up skiing, and by day 4, day 5 going, yeah, I get why you spend all this money every year to go and do this thing in the middle of winter, and, you know, fly off to a mountain that's cold, and blah blah blah. You'll see a moment where it all clicks and they go, yeah, I like this skiing thing. So yeah, Sam, any other tips for Adam?
I guess the only other thing is again, this is for anyone who's just doing stuff with beginners and even intermediate people, but again, it is to just realize that it's more tiring for them. Even if they are fitter than you, they're basically always holding a turn. Even snowboarding, and I'm pretty sure in skiing learning, you're basically always slowing down constantly. So because we are better, I'm just like gliding down the mountain and then slowly stopping myself, so I'm not as tired as these people who are like constantly terrified. Oh my god, I'm gonna fall over, and they're constantly braking.
You're tense, your muscles are tensed up. That in itself just burns more calories.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you've got to be. You can't always push them too much.
Building in more brakes is good for beginner skis.
Yeah,
you're right, because they're just burning more energy. Just even down to the nerves of skiing. Being nervous and uptight and anxious about something tires you out. So, yeah, I think that was a really interesting question. I'm sure it's something that many people have experienced.
Actually, I've got another question for you based off this question.
Okay.
Are you the leader of the group, or are you going with the flow? Are you like, I want to go do this, and the people are coming, or are you like, I don't give a shit what we're doing today, I'll go wherever?
I am.
You're so content-brained that you are leading where you want to go.
I'm the leader. However, I've gotten my friends lost so many times on the mountain, so many times, not just on the mountain, on other holidays in life, that they do not trust me. So what often happens is I plant an idea in their mind and say, we should head in this direction to go and, you know, explore this or achieve this or try and do this run. I've heard good things about it.
You're doing the ski version of Inception. You're like inside their brain, like, oh, look at this place on the map. This would be really cool if we at some point went here. Yeah.
Plant the seed.
Yeah.
Plant the seed, and then let them take control. Because then when they also get us lost, then I can kind of regain a bit of respect and some control. But until that moment, you know, if I say, oh, we got to take this blue and then follow this red and then get this 4-man chair up to here, blah blah blah. You know, it's just going in one ear and out the other for them, because they just don't trust the word I say.
Yeah.
So
you've got to regain the trust. You're in the negative on the directions at the minute.
Yeah, exactly. I'm minus 10 directions. Are you leader or go with the flow?
Yeah, it's the same with my one. It's probably is day based. It depends if there is something I actually do want to do. If I do want to go and do something, I'll just go and do it. And people will come along. And sometimes I just don't have any idea what I want to do. So I'm freshly available for anyone to be like, let's go here, and I'll be like, yep, sure, I don't care where we're going. I'm just gonna ski.
Yeah, exactly. As long as there's snow under my boots and board.
Yeah, usually happy. I'll just be like, oh, I want to go see the snow park, so I'll go over, and whoever wants to come with goes sees if it's any good.
Nice.
But yeah, otherwise I'm just looking for like nice off-piste, fluffy snow. That's all I'm looking for.
Nice. Good question, Adam. Thank you. And yeah, would encourage anyone else to write in, because we love hearing about all of your different questions. We are two people with our own set of questions and thoughts. You are an entire audience of skiing people, and we want to hear all of your opinions, questions, articles, whatever you're finding interesting. Sam, let's move on to snow report time. it's
So
interesting.
much
It's
snow. So
third
much snow.
third week of September, and we can't get too excited because I've been reading that the snow we've seen outside of maybe some of the glaciers that had snow on them anyway, it's unlikely to have a huge effect on the upcoming season because inevitably between now in kind of mid to late September, we've still got October and November, which are not overly cold months. This snow will probably melt, but there has been some pretty substantial snowfall. I think it was a storm that moved through the Alps, and there's been substantial snow across lots of key parts of the Alps. I was reading that in some cases it went down to the 1,000-meter mark, which is super low. And
yeah, it is. Bloody hell.
not something you get even in the middle of January these days, it seems. So yeah, really interesting. I don't think we can read too much into it because it's very early, and just because there's snow now, it doesn't mean we're going to have a great season. But yeah, I've just seen more people getting their skis out and going skiing, and we're in mid-September, which is just fantastic to see. Don't actually know what the conditions are like over in the US yet. I highly doubt there's any correlation between the snow we're getting here. I'm pretty sure it's localized to just Europe, but yeah, exciting seeing people actually going skiing in September, not just in glaciers, in kind of in other areas as well. There's a lot of backcountry and freestyle skiing that people are starting to do as a result of some of this snowfall.
Let's go. We want more snow, more snow.
Let's hope for a good season. Sam, as I said, I've been out and busy a little bit, but there has been the release of the Osmo Action 5. Is it the Action 5 Pro or the Action 5?
I don't know why they've decided to call it Pro, because there isn't a regular 5. It's just the Pro 5. Like, there's only one. It's just this year's one.
It's a classic marketing trick.
And yeah, unless they come out with a smaller one or something, unless they come out with their own, just a regular.
Did you say it's because they've? I don't know if you've got any details in front of you and you want to run through some of the interesting aspects of it, but is it because they've put like what they would call a pro grade sensor or something?
No, well, I think they're using the same sensors they used last time for the 4. They've always had a slightly bigger sensor than all the other action cams, but I think they have a new chip in the camera, which again makes the battery run more efficient. It makes it not overheat when it's writing all the data and stuff like that. It's basically just improves the speed of everything on there, and now has like internal memory and stuff like that, and it's got a better screen. And it basically, from all the reviews I've seen of people reviewing it, it seems to be the first year that they've really just beaten out GoPro in terms of like specs and like battery life and everything. Again, it only came out 3 days ago or something as we're recording this, so
yeah, we probably haven't seen, I guess, footage on snow
yeah,
either.
we'll find out there's a deadly bug or something, and it actually breaks every time you use it in the snow.
Yeah,
so,
it doesn't work below 3 degrees or something.
Yeah, so I'm sure they'll have a bunch of videos coming out of people who've been testing it, and then once the snow comes, we'll get more people using it.
Yeah, competition is everything. We as consumers benefit when you've got competition, and it feels like we've got GoPro, Insta360, and DJI all operating in a similar space. Insta360 may be a little bit different because they're prioritizing 360 cameras.
Yeah, they do have one though. I believe it's called like the Ace or something, but I don't think it's ever been.
I don't think they invest as much kind of.
Yeah, it's not very competitive, especially because they're called Insta360. They're the 360 company. They're not exactly the.
Yeah, exactly, and they're great at that. They're the most reliable, the most modern. They've got the best app for 360 cameras as it stands. Hopefully GoPro come into that space more.
Yeah, I think that's like we need more good 360 cameras to push it forward.
I looked at some footage comparisons actually between this new Action 5 Pro, and then I think it was Insta360 and the new GoPro, which is I think it's the 13, and it does look very sharp. It looks better. I think you're saying high dynamic range is
it's like a 10-bit. Again, it's got a bigger sensor, so it's going to have more dynamic range.
It covers a wider range of different lighting conditions and things stay kind of still visible and
I think the low
don't
light
get
is
ruined by the
underrated
sun.
when you go skiing, because I feel like a lot of times when you go out at night to go to like restaurants and stuff, they always have like really like pretty lights and stuff around like the area, and you always try and record it with your like GoPro, and then you get home and you're like, oh my god, the low light is so. And this is especially
Yeah.
this is on old GoPros. Like I'm pretty sure I have like GoPro 3 Plus or whatever it used to be.
I did see
And
this
they
actually.
look awful in low light. So
Yeah, that bigger sensor just makes the low light so much better.
yeah,
Which you're right. I'd say skiing conditions are some of the brightest conditions you will ever experience. There's a reason we all ski in goggles and sunglasses. It's just bright out there. But there are moments, I guess, where you walk into restaurants on the mountain, which can be pretty dark, and sometimes you just want behind the scenes footage of that sort of stuff. And yeah, as you said, the towns are stunning at night.
yeah. It's that town vibe when it's like it is really dark. You're not in like a high light polluted area. You're like on a mountain, so you can see the stars easier. You can see all this stuff easier. And then they've got these tiny little bright lights and stuff like that. So I think stuff like that would look quite nice.
Yeah,
on the camera.
100%. I think the one thing that I can't quite get over, I am a real fan of the GoPro color science. Their color profile and stuff like that suits my eyes. I don't know what it is. I find some of the other color sciences either too vibrant or just almost too red at times, reddy, or they lean towards towards having red images. The GoPro one just really suits my eyes, and I've always filmed using GoPro cameras, and I get a lot of comments I've seen like, wow, this footage is great, what camera are you using? I'm sure other people get that on their Insta360s and everything, but I don't know, I think it is, to my eye at least, it's my favorite color science. It's the same for me.
It's like one of the ones with phone cameras. I think iPhone has a good color profile, and people enjoy that. Like you'll get a lot better cameras with much more detail.
Yeah, like
in
Samsung,
like the Samsung ones,
specs,
but
and
people are so used to loving the. Well, maybe they're just designed to like those. They're designed to be the most appealing. So they've tested it on people who it's like, oh, people like this more than they like this. So
exactly. And for anyone who like shoots with mirrorless cameras or DSLRs historically, Canon has always been over Sony. I think Sony make actual better bits of technology. They push the boundaries more especially when it comes to their recent mirrorless cameras. But Canon, for me, have always got the color science right. Even though they overheat more, they have more crop sensors, and the designs and things aren't quite as groundbreaking or revolutionary as the Sony cameras. I've always stuck to Canon cameras because the color science just suits my eye better. And I'd be interested to see. I don't mind, a slightly softer image, might be a bit less sharp, because I'm not really zooming in with GoPro footage. I'm normally zooming out. I want the widest image possible, so I'm not pixel peeping. I'm not like taking a 4K thing and cropping in. I'm zooming out. So resolution, now that we're at 4K, 5.4K, whatever, I don't often feel like I'm struggling. So I will sacrifice a softer image for a wide image that is reliable and I like the color science of. So yeah, interested to see. One thing actually I haven't looked into much of with this Action 5 is whether you can change. Well, you said it has
it has a D-Log M. D-Log M 10-bit, so you can do you can get like a really flat image. For anyone who's skiing, this is probably like we've gone into camera talk. We have a whole camera podcast, but it's basically like a really flat image that you use to color grade. You can get more. You would be able to get more out of it than a regular profile, but you're also gonna have to sit and you're gonna have to color grade all your stuff. And if you're going through, if you've set like your white balance to normal or whatever, you're gonna have different clips. And you're gonna have to sit and adjust all these things so they all look nice together. But that's what.
But I think the reality is I'm always, even with GoPro footage that I like the color science of, I'm always going to grade them anyway. So maybe the solution is to get the best of everything is just take the Action 5, shoot it in a log profile, and then just grade it like normal and get the image you want and get the color science you want.
Well, I think the main thing is definitely I'm sure people have already done loads of these, but they'll do like side by sides just so you can see which one you like more. And I think for people who are, again, they're not going to sit and color grade their stuff, and they're just going to immediately have it on their phone. It's never going to go to their computer. It's going to go straight to Instagram.
Yeah.
Those are the videos you probably want to look at. You don't want to look at all the tech review videos on like, it's got this. You want to go, okay,
Skiers
I want the image that's going to go straight to my phone. That is going to go straight onto my Instagram or straight onto Facebook or send it in a group chat. It's going to go to a WhatsApp group chat and get compressed because you didn't put it in high definition or whatever. So I think you just do the simplest thing and look at an image comparison and say, I like that more.
Think about actually what's the use case. It's you posting it on your Instagram stories. So you buy the camera that most easily you get the footage onto your phone, process it, and it uploads nice and cleanly to something like Instagram and looks good. Yeah, interesting. This has turned into a camera podcast somehow.
Actually, let me pivot. Let me just pivot to a brand new question that's not even on the thing. That's a camera and skiing related. Because there's so many like cameras now on the mountain, I'd love to know how many videos out there exist where I am just in the background snowboarding. Like, because I'll upload like a video of me skiing or something like that, and there's people going past in the chairlifts, there's people going past, there's people sat having coffee. How many of those videos am I in? How many of them am I just like...
your life objective to spot yourself.
Yeah,
Like, so what you got to do, you got to like go onto YouTube and find someone who's just uploaded like a full run of the resort you're in.
By the way, you know, I do this. I already do this. I go on Instagram and I check the location, and then I do most recent.
Go like latest
to see.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be like, oh wait, is someone one thing I do actually think people should do that when you go to places, because you'll find photos or cool areas that people have taken photos of. It's basically people who have finished their holiday, and they're like, this was really good, basically. You're basically looking at...
They're like highlights.
Yeah, you're looking at like a photo review of someone's holiday, and you've just arrived. Yeah. So I'm like, I'll go there, see if there's anything cool, and I'll be like, yep, we can find this place, we can find that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always wonder...
they're putting the location on it or whatever, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, when you do find yourself, you have to drag. Hopefully, it's not you stacking it.
I want to like just go into their comments and be like, "Can you tag me in that photo?" Because I'm just a person in the background on like a.
It's like post it on your story or something.
Exactly.
There's me.
Thanks for the mention in your Instagram post, and it's just me standing still in the background. Yes.
This has been an absolute pleasure. I'm gonna wrap things up.
Oh my god! The time has flown by.
It has. It's the great question we got from our best new friend Adam.
Yeah,
Thank you, Adam.
This question has taken some turns. It's created other questions. It's a
good one to unpick.
Yeah,
really good. So just as an outro, we're 1 week closer to the start of the ski season. Every time we do one of these podcasts, Sam, we get a little bit closer.
It gets a little bit colder.
Little bit colder, and putting our boards and our skis, getting that slapping sound down onto the snow, and clipping in or doing whatever you do with the snowboard, buckling in, I don't know what the term is, and getting out there and skiing. So, final reminder from me, podcast@liftpass.org for all your questions, comments, thoughts, anything you want to share. We'd love to chat about it on the podcast. Thank you for listening. Final one as well, please hit the little rating button if you enjoyed this podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. I think we're on all of them. It helps the podcast to grow. And ultimately, we want to be answering more questions from our listeners. So it will really help us get more of those in. So yeah, thanks, Sam. It's been a pleasure.
See ya.
GG.